What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Naruto Explain here, bringing you guys another Boruto 2 Blue Vortex discussion. Today, I want to talk to you guys about the looming battle of Matsuri versus Team 10 and why it's more important than you might be thinking. And for the 7 Konohamaru fans in the background right now, grabbing their pitchforks saying, but wait, this is our time. Konohamaru has to finish his story. Matsuri named Konohamaru as a person she wanted to consume, not Team 10. She doesn't care about Team 10, so why would they swoop in and steal the moment that belongs to Konohamaru? Hashtag we want Konohamaru. I'll be blunt and I'll say to you, I think we're still getting Konohamaru versus Matsuri. Don't get your panties in a bunch, but I do think it's not going to be exactly how you wanted it, which is a one-on-one fight where Konohamaru gets to go deep into his bag of jutsu and tricks and show us all 7 of the jutsu he knows and proves all the doubters and the shade throwers and naysayers, proves all of them wrong. I think you're more likely to see Konohamaru get taken out of the fight like he did when he stepped in to save Boruto from Ao's drone attack, because Boruto during that fight in that part of the actual timeline still had a tendency to lower his guard because he didn't understand the fundamental rule of all things battle shonen. Until you see a body on the ground, until you see that they're dead and you see that they're not moving, the fight ain't over. I think you run the risk of Konohamaru either 1, getting yeeted and one-shotted by Matsuri, which finishes the story of Konohamaru's character. Number 2, he ends up getting taken out by protecting members of Team 10, which I think is likely, who have shown that they have the problems that Boruto did by lowering their guard when they shouldn't, like we saw during Code's invasion, where Inojin and Chocho both suffered that fate. Only Shikadai was the one who was actually staying on guard. And number 3, you run the risk of Konohamaru playing the role of support in the Matsuri versus Team 10 battle so that the new generation can actually shine. Now, that last possibility is going to be a hard pill to swallow. Anytime you have people who even remotely consider the possibility that someone from Naruto's generation, which includes Konohamaru, might be taking a back seat, it leads to people crying in the fandom, shedding tears. Next thing you know, they'll be holding rallies in New York City saying, we want Konohamaru, but that trope is going to continue regardless of how people might feel. The new generation is going to get their moment to step up. And I think that starts with Team 10 and Matsuri. And in all honesty, it makes the most sense for them to take charge instead of Konohamaru, which it might be a bit of a hot take. I get it. Konohamaru and Moegi, they're childhood friends, but allow me to explain here. With Konohamaru versus Matsuri, the Shinjutsu Kono Moegi, it's something that would tug at the heartstrings of longtime Naruto fans such as myself. But let's also be real for a second. Longtime Naruto fans such as myself, they ain't necessarily the people that's reading Boruto. A lot of them have given up on it. To be frank, and I'm going to be blunt, so I'll probably get demonetized on YouTube for saying this, but to hell with the old school Naruto fans. They're not the ones consuming Boruto. They're not the ones buying Boruto, so don't even bother trying to appease them. I think it's important to remember the payoff that you get for having Team 10 actually face off with Matsuri. They are the students who Moegi was raising to be shinobi. They're the ones who are supposed to inherit her ninja way. That makes it poetic for them to actually go to battle with Matsuri. That cannot be overlooked in terms of impact. Team 10 and Konohamaru both made a vow to make whoever turned Moegi into a tree pay the ultimate price, and obviously that means taking out Matsuri, but it's a total red herring to allow Matsuri to continue to focus on Konohamaru as the one she wants to eat, but then shifts her attention to the students of Moegi themselves. Due to her being made from Moegi's chakra and chakra containing memories, we have a chance of something to stir up inside of the shinjuu, and I think that Team 10 might be the best course of action to exploit something like that. Moegi being the older person on that team and the one responsible for them, she's going to have a lot of investment in Team 10 due to the nurturing aspect, and it directly conflicts the nature of the shinjuu that is using her chakra, which is to consume and to destroy and to devour. That's going to be something very important to keep in mind when watching the entire encounter. I've said this before, but since Kishimoto's return to have the Boruto story based off of his drafts, we've seen some signs of him reusing elements from Samurai 8 to tweaking things from Naruto's manga, and I do think we're in store for other sensei versus student clashes like we had with Asuma versus Team 10, but this time it's different when it comes to the circumstances. The Asuma versus Team 10 fight, while I've made no secret, if you're a longtime viewer, you guys know that I found that fight extremely boring to read. I dropped Naruto's manga for 2.5 months so I could binge read it and everything that came afterwards, because I was getting sick of seeing Choji blubbering like an idiot during that fight. I do think this has potential to be done better. With the Edo Tensei, again, longtime viewers know I think Edo Tensei was corny in the sense we had ninjas versus ninja zombies. But the creative choice still allowed the Edo Tensei to retain their personalities until Kabuto took control. That was something I did like though. I liked that a lot because it played on human emotions. Like, what would you do if you had a loved one suddenly back from the dead and you found yourself having to fight them unexpectedly? You and I would freak out because the memories we had buried because of how much it hurt to think about them, it would actually come back. And the members of Team 10, they were fighting against Asuma. That was pretty much what happened with them. However, on the other side of that, when they did break through their emotional wall, they each had to show that they became the awesome shinobi that Asuma believed they could be in the future. It was a great payoff. Again, while I'm not personally a big fan of the fight, it's probably towards the lower middle of fights in Naruto's manga, but it's still something I can acknowledge. While it wasn't for me, it did have a good payoff at the end. I think we're heading down a similar path here, where this might not be something I'm super interested in, since if Konohamaru has 3 people rooting for him, then I'm the 4th person that is rooting for those 3 people, rooting for him to not get their hearts broken. But I think it stands a chance of getting Team 10 versus Matsuri, and this time it's different. It's the opposite. Whereas Asuma had his personality and slowly lost control because of Kabuto, I think we stand a reason of something like this happening, where it's the opposite, where Matsuri starts out attacking Team 10, and through that conflict, Moegi's maternal and nurturing instincts she has as a mentor figure end up breaking through to Matsuri because of the chakra, and that sets the stage for Team 10 to bring down Matsuri in some type of fashion. For Team 10, this is a battle that means a lot for them, and it would continue the trend that we had from Naruto's manga. Forget all those anime filler episodes for the 2 Naruto anime. Just throw all of them in the trash with Kiba's chances of becoming Hokage and light them on fire for this portion of the video. What team outside of Team 7 had the most development in Naruto's manga and were used to showcase the darker side of the ninja world? What team did Kishimoto consistently use if he was going to take the scope off of Team 7? Naruto, Sasuke, Kakashi, and SAIYAN Yamato. What team did he go to? It was Team 10. In the Omnipotence arc, what was the team from the new generation we were shown giving chase after Boruto? It was Team 10. What was the new generation team we saw involved with the Claw Grimes and were there to confront Boruto alongside Kawaki? It was Team 10. Granted, some of that is despite Ikimoto telling us years ago that Sumire and Denki and Awabe would be shown in manga format at some point, and after that quote was shown, the only person we saw in the manga was Sumire. But the point still stands. They're being positioned as something to keep your eyes on moving forward when it comes to next generation's involvement, and honestly, as much as it makes me groan to say it, I can actually see the payoff. Kishimoto used Team 10 fighting Asuma as a way to show how much they'd grown, because Asuma might have been a cigarette smoking bum who died to avoid paying child support and made Kurenai a single mother, but at the end of the day, Asuma was still an elite jonin in the strongest village on the continent, and Team 10 did pretty damn well against this Edo Tensei version in their battle and showed that each of those members of Team 10 were at the least in that Jonin class of power, which obviously I'm not counting Choji using butterfly mode and giant mode, because both of those come with insane power increases, with just butterfly mode by itself being a confirmed 100 times increase over base according to the manga and the data books. But the point still stands. We saw their growth and we had an accurate way to measure it, and I think having Team 10 start going back and forth with Moegi's Shinju and evolved Shinju that is using Code's chakra, it's a great way to actually measure them. Again, I am groaning because it's the classic shonen power creep that you get with long-running shonen, where once a series gets past 20 volumes, you run the risk of power-ups being ass pulls. But for evidence on how power creeps can shoot up, you'll want to check out my 25 strongest Demon Slayer character video that you see on the screen here.